Hi guys, how are you? I have a very important message. And God, remember I told you guys how God will tell me stuff, and then when I do my coaching calls, people will mention something that was similar to what God told me, like as in like they'll mention little signs and stuff that God already showed me. But from last week, I've been hearing trumpet. Okay, a trumpet. I've been hearing a trumpet from last week, so I'm like, something's gonna happen, but I'm not sure why. And I felt it strongly in my spirit. Even when I'll be driving sometimes, you guys know I have an ears for instruments. I love instruments. So even when I'm driving sometimes and I'm listening to classical music, it's like the trumpet would sound different than how it normally sounds when I listen to my classical music. It's like for some reason the trumpet is sounding louder than all the other instruments for some reason, and it's standing out for some reason. And it's like every time I listen to it, I never noticed that until now, right? Last week, I kept hearing a trumpet without even listening to music. Last night, the Lord spoke and said trumpet. And then he said, write it down. I said, okay. So I wrote it down. He also gave me something else to tell you guys. Starting March 15th, 2022, this is a prophecy. March 15th, 2022, he said specifically, there is judgment upon your enemies. It is starting March 15th, 2022. He never gave me a time frame as to like the length of the judgment, but the judgment date starts March 15th. Your enemies will be placed in judgment. Okay, so everything that they've been doing up until March 15th is the judgment time, judgment day when it starts. So it can be judgment from March 15th up until a certain time, or it can be just that specific day. God didn't go into full details about that. He just specifically said, let me go back and read it just to make sure. Judgment starts for the wicked March 15th. That's what he said. Judgment starts for the wicked March 15th. Okay. Then he gave me I got a scripture too. And this is Psalm 6. And this is number 10. All my enemies will be overwhelmed with shame and anguish. They will turn back and suddenly be put to shame. Now, here's specific details on what God was telling me. Some of you guys, this is one of the spiritual warfare symptoms you guys have been experiencing, is that they've been trying to mess with your mind. They've been trying to wipe your mind and trying to get you guys to forget things. It could be like you planned on doing something and all of a sudden you forgot about it. You know, you don't know why you forgot about it. They're messing with your minds, right? Remember, I told you that they were sending spirits and they were trying to confuse you guys. That's what they're doing. They were trying to confuse and trying to mess with minds. Okay, this is why I did get a message 2 months ago and I was afraid to post it, but God was saying that the S rate was going to rise for a bit because of what they're doing, what these people are doing to the chosen ones, to the point where the S rate was going to rise. But there's a lot of people who are fighting off this, okay, and the spirits can't touch them, right? But they're doing other things like messing with the minds, messing with electronics, things around people, messing with things in the homes and stuff like that. Listen, the trumpet has been blown. The trumpet has been blown. Okay, and God is saying judgment upon your enemies starts March 15th. He said specific words again. I'm going to say it again. Judgment starts for the wicked on March 15th. That's what he said, okay? And the scripture here says that the enemies will be overwhelmed, put to shame, and anguish. Anguish is a form of someone going through something mentally. Okay, so everything that they have tried to do to you mentally, because when they do witchcraft and black magic on you and all that, that will mess with you mentally. And remember how I said about them sending spirits trying to confuse you? Everything that they've done to you, it's going to hit them right back. Your enemies are going to go through some sort of mental distress, okay, when God is done with them. Okay, and it's not God doing it. They did it to themselves, but the wrath of God is upon them, which means God is not going to spare them when these spells and these rituals and these spirits hit them back. God is not going to spare them. God is going to allow these spirits to take over them. God is going to allow these spirits to torment them. God is going to allow these spirits to do whatever they want to do to them. Why? Because they tried to do this to you. So it's the work of their own hands. Remember that. It's the work of their own hands that's hitting them. It's not God purposely doing this to them. No, it's the work of their own hands that's hitting them, right? But God is just not going to spare them as he spared you guys. Because when they try to do this stuff to you, God spared you guys, right? God spared you guys. God made sure the spirits can't touch you and stuff like that. Although you're seeing the effects of what they're doing, the spirits couldn't necessarily touch you. See, the works of their hands, it's what's causing their own destruction. They're going to go through some sort of anguish, which means they're going to go through a mental crisis, and you're going to notice it. Don't look. God, listen, God is going to show you. You'll notice it, okay? March 15th, judgment is upon the wicked. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.